Welcome, Aries, to your in-depth 6-month eclipse forecast. I'm going to share with you the themes of this particular solar eclipse, but also how it impacts on you particularly. And to do that, we need to go beyond the themes of the eclipse and look at the event chart. So when the eclipse occurs, we're conscious of how all the other planetary players are feeding into the picture, and that helps me to give you the most accurate forecast for these upcoming months. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you are new here, please help the channel to continue to thrive and subscribe now. So an Aquarius solar eclipse is very much about higher purpose. It can be about future plans. It can be about our network, our friendships, but also because it's in a square, this event, with the disruptive energies of Uranus, the higher octave ruler of the sign of Aquarius, we could have some tensions between what we want in terms of our higher purpose, but also in terms of the financial or value-based moves we make. So on the screen, let's first of all look at the eclipse. Technically a new moon as well, the six of seven successive new moons at 28 degrees. Incredible synchronicity. But the position of your ruler Mars in the sign of Aquarius is very good because Mars in your sign is very much about initiation. It's about taking action, can be very single-minded, and that's a great strength of yours. But Mars in the sign of Aquarius is much more able to be individualistic, but also be collaborative. And that's something that you've really been able to demonstrate quite a lot recently when we've had such a lot of Aquarius energy pulsating in the sky. But we've also had full time since November 2024, the transformational Pluto in this part of your situation. And I think if we look back more retrospectively, the energy that was so strong in Capricorn, which really came to a boil through the COVID period, was a time when you may have reached a point of culmination. So something you'd worked on hard for a very long time may have really been achieving a lot of recognition, which is terrific. But since then, I think there has been some big shifts, not least that Saturn has been in your mainly, apart from those 3 months last year, in your 12th house. And that's more to do with tying up loose ends. So that's the big picture. So now with this solar eclipse, although it does occur very late in the sign of Aquarius, we are much more thinking about what's upcoming for us, what's our higher purpose. But because you've had Saturn and Neptune return to your sign, Saturn can act like a handbrake. Neptune can bring a degree of more atmospheric appreciation, but it also can create some confusion. And we know that Saturn can create some limitation. And in your sign, Saturn is technically in its fall. So you're about starting things off. Saturn's more about culmination and outcomes. So if we're thinking about that Aquarius energy, which is perhaps getting in touch with what goes beyond the material sphere, it is thinking about our highest hopes, the crunching reality of Saturn, and perhaps the more eroding energy of Neptune could challenge even the most optimistic Aries unless you're very, very clear about what your targets are. But I want to reassure you, because although the Sun and the Moon are in the square with Uranus, that could tease into the open a much greater clarity in terms of being in touch with your need to be authentic. Because, for example, if you've had a job for a long time, which you don't really enjoy anymore, uh, it's very likely with this eclipse that you will change it. And therefore, the need for steady income, which can come from the energies of Taurus, is challenged by the disruptive energies of Uranus, as it has been broadly for the last 7 years. So I think you've got used to perhaps looking at things in a different way, being more flexible, perhaps having different roles that complement one another, and not necessarily doing things in just one way. However, if there are friendships in your situation and there are certain people within that group of players whose values more noticeably don't align with yours, I think it can be an opportunity to clear out some feelings of stuckness. And if there is a sense that there is some still waters that need to be released, I think you have an opportunity to do that. So if there's anything stagnant in your world, the next 6 months is going to be pivotal for you because that leads us to the solar eclipse in Leo, the 12th of August, which is incredibly positive. And also by that time, Jupiter and Mercury will be in the fifth house of your chart, also in Leo, really pushing you to showcase your unique talent. So if you find yourself after those halcyon years of when we did have Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all in Capricorn, that may have been when a business or worldly or work situation reached an end and you had to pivot and change. And you may have been doing different things since then, just trying to work out exactly what to do going forwards. So I think this eclipse is trying to concentrate your thinking on really what's important for you personally. But I want to provide some reassurance because Mercury, which can be very much to do with marketing and commerce, is in a wonderful link to Jupiter. And Jupiter may be in a retrograde at the moment, but it is the planet of luck. It's in your fourth house. If you're wanting to reimagine your long-term future financially, don't disregard some interests or hobbies or talents that you've got that you may be able to use from the comfort of your home. Because one of the things with Saturn and Neptune in your sign, you do need to use your time carefully. If you spread yourself too thinly, you could end up feeling a bit exhausted. So if you're not uh, all systems go on one particular long-term plan, and you do feel like you're in a period of change, transformation, which is highly likely, and you're not quite sure what the next steps will be, just know that's entirely natural for where you are in the process. But if you do want to do something as a sideline, call it a side hustle these days, your chart looks very positive for this next 6 months. But I think when it comes to friendships or group networks that don't quite work for you, there may be a shakeout, and some people can make way. But if you are someone with a passion for innovation, trying things in a fresh way, and you're open to collaboration, the next 6 months can be tremendous for you. Don't underestimate as well, with Venus, the planet of money, very close to the North Node, your instincts. I feel that when we read about Aries as an archetype, it's all about action, confidence, thrust, risk taking, sometimes a lack of attention over the long term. I think it's very simplistic because you're a sign that's very good at listening to hunches and having the confidence to go for them. And this chart is saying, do stay in touch with your instincts because Saturn has given you some big lessons in that regard over the last couple of years. And those lessons are ones you should continue to hold. So if you feel that something isn't quite right, trust that sixth sense. It won't let you down. But in terms of your romantic situation, I think it is possible that you could get to know someone through your friendship circle. It could be a surprise, and the connection between you initially could be quite low key. So watch out for someone's body language rather than exactly what they say. And in some cases, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that someone from your past will come back into your life, maybe an old flame. But just know with Saturn and Neptune in your sign, you have to use your time carefully. So if you have got interest, connections to people, and it does feel more peripheral, this is the time to focus more on what really works for you in terms of your long-term future. Now, to get the best of what's going on for the rest of February, because it's an extremely important month with Mars, your ruler, clashing with Uranus over the last week, please click on the link for the February deep dive video because I feel that's going to give you a lot of information. And if you've yet to watch your Saturn video, having moved into Aries, you can click on that too. Now, if you'd like to take advantage of my unique special offers, you can order your printed reports, your natal forecast and life roadmap. And currently, if you apply at the checkout Astro 26, you'll get 50% off. Totally unique to you. If you prefer to look at the draconic, soul, or karmic perspective of your chart, you can order the draconic version, and at the checkout, please apply Draco 26. Thank you.